First at 9 this Friday, the 30th of May 2025. Weather mayhem. 60 km/h winds coupled with torrential rains create mayhem, uprooting trees, interrupting power and destroying houses. Epidemic numbers. Dengue and chikungunya fast spread across urban areas. Nearly 1,500 dengue patients identified in the past week alone. Resilient Sri Lanka. China says it stands ready to support Sri Lanka's development journey, recommending expanded bilateral trade and economic cooperation to boost development. Sri Lanka reaffirms government's commitment to creating a resilient economy.
The government is taking all possible measures to ensure sustainable economic growth and development to build a resilient and inclusive.
සිනෙක් කැම්පස් ඕපන් ඩේ මේ මාස 3 වෙනි දින උදෑසන 9 සිට සිනෙක් කැම්පස් පරිශ්‍රයේදී.
This is Derana First at 9 live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to Derana First at 9, Sri Lanka's most trusted news source. I'm Tatyara joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. We begin with your top story. Sri Lanka continue to battle the adverse effects of the prevalent inclement weather conditions, with torrential rains and strong winds persisting across the island today. Multiple incidents of fallen trees causing traffic disruptions and power outages were reported island-wide throughout the day. Taking this situation into consideration, the Ceylon Electricity Board announced several methods for the public to lodge complaints or request information of power outages in their respective areas.
Heavy downpours prompted by the southwest monsoon persisted throughout the day today. The Department of Meteorology attributed the current weather patterns to a low-pressure area in the atmosphere northeast of the island, traversing through the sea towards land. In its report, the Met Department also noted that the system is currently entering the coasts of Bangladesh while receding gradually. In the meantime, several areas in Colombo, including Vallavatta, Bauddha Lokamavata and Bambalapitiya, were severely affected by prevailing strong winds. A tree collapsed in St. Joseph's Mavata in Grand Pass, causing major damage to 15 residences. 6 of the 15 houses were completely destroyed while power supply to the area was disrupted. Meanwhile, a residence located on Sri Dhamma Mavata in Dematagoda was damaged after a wall of a nearby factory collapsed onto it. 2 women who were within the premises at the time of the incident were injured and subsequently taken to the Colombo National Hospital for treatment. Our reporters confirmed that an infant too was inside the house but was fortunately not injured. Meanwhile, several power outages were reported from across the island owing to adverse weather conditions. The Central Highlands too experienced continuous heavy rains and strong winds throughout the day. Trees collapsed in the region, causing damage to a vast number of residences as well as power lines. A transmission line system of the Valioa estate in Hatton collapsed, causing power outages to nearly 300 families. In the meantime, traffic on the Ginigathena Norton Bridge Main Road was disrupted after a utility pole supporting a high-voltage transmission line collapsed onto the road. The Ceylon Electricity Board confirmed 29,015 power outages in the area as a result. Taking continued power cuts caused by adverse weather into consideration, the Ceylon Electricity Board announced that consumers can now lodge complaints related to electricity breakdowns using the CEB Care app, CEB Care web portal, web self-service or by sending an SMS to the 1987 hotline. Through the 1987 hotline, the public can lodge a complaint regarding breakdowns by sending the message BD space account number, while details pertaining to interruptions can be obtained through sending INT space account number to the same hotline. Meanwhile, traffic on the Colombo-Kurunagala main road was disrupted this morning owing to a tree which collapsed onto the road in the Ambagahandia area in Minuangoda. Taking the prevailing heavy rainfall into consideration, 3 sluice gates of the Polgola Reservoir were opened, which are releasing 4,500 cubic feet of water per second. Sri Lanka Police advises the public to take precautions and be mindful when driving on highways. In the meantime, the Sri Lanka Air Force promptly deployed a Bell 412 helicopter to rescue 3 fishermen from a vessel marooned off the seas of Balapitiya due to the prevailing adverse weather conditions. 3 rescued fishermen were brought ashore, subsequently hospitalized. As per reports of the Disaster Management Centre, 3,345 persons of 887 families have been affected by persisting inclement weather. The report further noted that a total of 857 residences have been partially destroyed.
Now, the Sri Lanka Medical Association raises concern that the number of dengue and chikungunya patients reported from various parts of the island have reached epidemic levels. Meanwhile, it was revealed at the Colombo District Regional Coordination Committee meeting today that public spaces, including government institutions and schools, have been identified as the primary breeding sites for the mosquitoes which transmit both diseases. With persistent heavy rains, a noticeable surge in dengue cases has been reported from various parts of the island. Similarly, chikungunya is also currently prevalent in a number of densely populated areas of the country. During a press briefing today, the Sri Lanka Medical Association raised concerns over the rapid spread of both dengue and chikungunya across the country.
Over 23,300 dengue cases have been reported so far in 2025, but that is only the number of patients who are admitted to hospitals. However, there are more cases which are unreported. 45% of the reported cases are recorded from the Western Province, mainly from Colombo and Gampaha districts. Additionally, a large number of patients are also reported from Ratnapura, Kandy, Galle, Patiklo, Kurunagala and Kegalle districts. 1,468 dengue patients were identified in the past week alone. Chikungunya is also spreading rapidly, especially in the Colombo district. Over 500 chikungunya patients have been reported. However, there are more unreported cases among the public, as only a limited number of patients have been admitted to hospitals.
A significant number of children have been infected with chikungunya. Those over 65 years of age who've contracted the disease may experience severe joint pain. A newborn can be infected with the disease if the mother is infected with it during or close to childbirth. The disease can affect their heart, liver and brain. Chikungunya can also cause severe harm to children below the age of 1. The numbers of dengue and chikungunya patients are both at epidemic levels. Both of these diseases are caused by the same mosquito and they both have similar symptoms during the initial stage.
Meanwhile, the spike in the number of dengue and chikungunya cases was also brought up at the Colombo District Regional Coordination Committee meeting.
Around 10,000 dengue patients have been reported from the Western Province. The highest number of confirmed chikungunya patients were reported from Kolpeti and Suduvella. We have inspected around 70,000 houses and only 8.5% of them have been identified as potential mosquito breeding sites. But higher percentages have been reported at government institutions, schools, construction sites and religious institutions. We have inspected 402 government institutions and 30% of them were identified as potential mosquito breeding sites, while mosquito larvae have been found in 24% of them. There is a number of mosquito breeding sites in the Krish building in Peta. We need to clean those sites.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya asserts that younger professionals must be strengthened and encouraged to assume more active roles in addressing issues of national importance. Speaking at an event in Colombo, the Premier further emphasized that younger professionals shoulder responsibilities far larger than their individual roles. In the meantime, the Prime Minister also handed over to the public the first phase of the Ruanwala water supply project in Kegalle.
The 50th anniversary celebration of the Organisation of Professional Associations of Sri Lanka was held at the BMICH in Colombo yesterday under the patronage of Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya. A commemorative stamp for OPASL's 50th anniversary was also issued during the event.
There is also an important role for the OPA in supporting the next generation of professionals. I think there's a young professionals forum, and I think that is something we really need to strengthen and also encourage younger professionals to take a more active role in national issues or issues of national importance. I know it's a tough time for young people. They have to focus on their careers, but it's also important that they understand that as professionals, they have a responsibility that is larger than their particular individual role. By fostering mentoring, upholding ethical standards, and encouraging inclusive leadership, the OPA can ensure the values it has promoted over 50 years and continue to guide Sri Lanka's professional community.
In the meantime, the first phase of the Ruanvalla water supply project was officially handed over to the public yesterday under the patronage of Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya and the Ambassador of the Republic of Korea to Sri Lanka, Myeon Lee. The project was initiated to address the need to provide solutions to the drinking water issues faced by the residents of Ruanvalla, Bulatkohupitiya and Yatiyantora Divisional Secretariat divisions in the Kegol district. The Prime Minister's office stated that a total of $25.5 million has been spent on the project, and the second phase of the project is expected to be completed by 2028.
Through this project in Ruanvalla, necessary clean water will be provided. We have completed the first phase of this water project. According to what I heard, around 7,000 people are benefiting from this project, and step by step, we will be able to provide benefits to around 37,000 people. Although the project commenced in 2019, its completion was delayed due to the country facing economic and health challenges such as the COVID-19 pandemic. However, I extend my gratitude to the National Water Supply and Drainage Board and other officials who were part of the project for making it possible to hand over the first phase to the public this year.
At the same time, I would like to thank the Korean people and the government of Korea for their unstinted support and commitment towards this project. And even when the project was interrupted due to many reasons, you did not hesitate to stay with us, and we are very appreciative of your commitment to the well-being of the Sri Lankan people. I would also like to thank the Exim Bank and the Cologne company for successfully partnering with us on this project, and I look forward to your continued cooperation and continued investment in this project and others like this.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya welcomed the visiting Minister of Foreign Affairs of Poland, Radoslav Sikorski, at Temple Trees yesterday. During the discussion, the Polish Foreign Minister assured that immediate action would be taken to resolve visa-related challenges currently faced by Sri Lankan nationals seeking to travel to Poland. Expanding collaboration in several key areas including economic development, labour mobility, high-end tourism and the implementation of digital administrative systems was also emphasized at the meeting.
සිනෙක් කැම්පස් ඕපන් ඩේ මැයි මස 3 වැනි දින උදෑසන 9 සිට සිනෙක් කැම්පස් පරිශ්‍රයේදී.
Now, former Minister of Sports Mahinda Anandaluthgamage and former Chairman of Lanka Sathosa Nalin Fernando, who was sentenced to rigorous imprisonment by the Colombo Permanent High Court trial at bar on Wednesday, have been placed under a common ward at the Valikada prison. The duo were found guilty yesterday in a corruption case related to the import of sports equipment in 2015 during their terms in office, which had caused a 53.1 million rupee loss to the government. According to prison media spokesperson Gamini Bidisanayaka, they are kept in accordance with prison protocol. In the meantime, several sources reported that the duo are scheduled to be assigned to prison work and will most likely be assigned to printing division of the Valikada prison. Fernando was sentenced to 25 years rigorous imprisonment, while Aluthgamage received a 20-year sentence. In addition, the court imposed fines of 400,000 rupees and 200,000 rupees on Fernando and Aluthgamage respectively. The Colombo High Court has fixed the case filed against Yoshito Rajapaksa and his maternal grandmother Daisy Forrest to be heard on the 11th of July. The case filed under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act was taken up today before the Colombo High Court Judge Aditya Patabandige. During the trial, counsellor for the defendant's President's Counsel Sampath Mendes submitted a list of documents and witness statements required for trial preparation and requested that the prosecution provide them to ensure a fair trial. In response, the judge directed the senior state counsel appearing for the prosecution to take necessary steps to furnish the requested documents and statements to the defence. The Attorney General has filed the case alleging that Yoshita Rajapaksa and Daisy Forrest committed an offence under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act by illegally acquiring assets and properties valued at approximately 73 million rupees. The Election Commission announced that the deadline to submit the names of elected representatives to local government bodies ends at midnight today. The Commission stated that they have not received the list of names of councillors from each political party and independent groups as yet, despite 21 days passing since the recent local government elections. Meanwhile, issuing a Gazette notification, the Minister of Public Administration, Provincial Councils and Local Governments announced that the term of office of local government institutions should commence on the 2nd of June. The Gazette notification further stated that the names of all nominated councillors should be submitted to the returning officers of the relevant local government institutions before midnight, as the names of all elected and nominated councillors must be published in a Gazette notification before the commencement of their term of office. When contacted by Derana, Commissioner General of Elections Samanshri Ratnayaka stated that only the names received before midnight tonight will be published in the Gazette notification. Welcome back. In your business news, China's Minister of Commerce Wang Wentao asserts that China stands ready to support Sri Lanka's development journey and explore more opportunities of bilateral trade. He made these comments while addressing the Sri Lanka-China Trade and Investment Forum 2025, which commenced today in Colombo. Speaking at the same event, Deputy Minister of Economic Development Professor Anil Jayantha Fernando assured that following a period of macroeconomic stabilization and structural reforms, the government is taking all possible measures to ensure sustainable economic growth to build a resilient and inclusive economy.
The Sri Lanka-China Trade and Investment Forum 2025 was held today in Colombo. The forum was inaugurated under the patronage of Deputy Minister of Economic Development Professor Anil Jayantha Fernando, Minister of Commerce of the People's Republic of China Wang Wengho, Ambassador of the People's Republic of China in Sri Lanka Shi Shenghong.
It is my hope that our friends in the business community can make good use of this platform to tap into inter-cooperation potential, identify business opportunities, yield more cooperation outcomes, and contribute to sustaining the development of China-Sri Lanka economic trade ties.
Sri Lanka deeply upholds its long-standing friendship with People's Republic of China, which is built on shared values, culture, mutual respect, and rapidly growing economic operations. Sri Lanka stands at a critical juncture as we are gradually but steadily stabilizing our economy in a pursuit of transforming our country into a better place that respects humanity. Following a period of macroeconomic stabilization and structural reforms, the government is taking all possible measures to ensure sustainable economic growth and development with industrial revival, export diversification, modern agriculture, expanded tourism, as well as digital and green transitions to build a resilient and inclusive economy. Guided by the government's national policy framework, we are committed to creating a conducive environment for ease of doing business with level playing fields rooted in transparency, predictability, and sustainability. In 2024, Sri Lanka's total exports of goods to the world were valued at $12.02 billion, while the total imports of goods were valued at $18.27 billion, while tourist arrival reached over 2 million during the same year. These figures reflect Sri Lanka's growing integration with the global economy and and its commitment to strengthening international economic collaborations and partnerships. There are many areas in which we can cooperate with China through joint ventures while focusing on technology transfer and capacity building. We invite you to explore the potential of our emerging opportunities to invest, not just as a market of 22 million people, but as a gateway to South Asia and beyond.
The overall rate of inflation as measured by the Colombo Consumer Price Index on a year-on-year basis has increased to minus 0.7% in May 2025 from minus 2% in April. According to the latest data released by the Department of Census and Statistics, the year-on-year inflation of the food group has also increased to 5.2% in May 2025 from 1.3% in April. Meanwhile, the year-on-year inflation of the non-food group also increased to minus 3.3% in March compared to minus 3.6% in April. Now, in a fast-moving legal reversal, a federal appeals court in Washington today temporarily reinstated U.S. President Donald Trump's expansive tariffs on foreign after international trade blocked the tariffs from going into effect, ruling that Trump had overstepped his authority by imposing the tariffs without the approval of the Senate.
US President Donald Trump enacted a series of reciprocal tariffs on April 2nd, affecting nearly all goods imported into the United States. Following a market revolt after his major tariff announcement, President Trump paused most import duties for 90 days and stated he would hammer out bilateral deals. However, the US Court of International Trade yesterday blocked President Trump's tariffs from going into effect, ruling that the president overstepped his authority by imposing duties on imports from nations that sell more to the United States than they buy. The Manhattan-based court said the US Constitution gives Congress exclusive authority to regulate commerce with other countries that is not overridden by the president's emergency powers to safeguard the economy. However, a day later, a federal appeals court in Washington, D.C. today temporarily reinstated the tariffs. The United States Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit in Washington said it was pausing the lower court's ruling to consider the government's appeal and ordered the plaintiffs in the case to respond by June 5th and the administration by June 9th. Addressing a media briefing, White House trade advisor Peter Navarro spoke on the current situation regarding the tariffs.
The tariffs remain in place. The court told us, they didn't all but tell us, they told us go do it another way. So you can assume that even if we lose, we will do it another way. And I can assure the American people that the Trump tariff agenda is alive, well, healthy, and will be implemented to protect you, to save your jobs and your factories, and to stop shipping foreign wealth, our wealth into foreign hands.
The Colombo Stock Exchange closed the week on a positive trajectory, with the ASPI gaining 39 points to settle at 16,855. After a modest uptick at market open, followed by a brief dip, the main index rebounded to maintain upward momentum. The rally was largely supported by notable gains in Haley's Capital Alliance, which commenced trading today, Commercial Bank, NDB and RIL Property. Investor sentiment remained upbeat with improved activity from retail participants, while high net worth interest was observed particularly in Lanka IOC, Digital Mobility Solutions and Capital Alliance. Total market turnover reached 5.2 billion. Diversified financial sector-led turnover accounting for 27% of the total, followed by the banks and capital goods sectors, which collectively contributed 34%. Foreign investors continue to remain cautious, recording net outflow of 441.6 million rupees. Now, in the forex market, the Sri Lankan rupee appreciated against the US dollar, closing at 299.4 a dollar compared to the previously seen rate of 299.7. Overnight liquidity in the banking system contracted marginally to 203.8 billion from 207.9 billion in the previous session. With that, here's a look at today's exchange rates. Sri Lanka's Anudi Gunasekara clinched the title of first runner-up from Asia in the Miss World Multimedia Challenge, marking an unprecedented achievement of the island nation at the 72nd Miss World Festival in Telangana, India. Anudi's outstanding performance earned her a spot among the top 20 global finalists in the prestigious challenge. She is the first Sri Lankan contestant ever to reach this milestone in the Multimedia Challenge category. With this achievement, Anudi also secures a prestigious spot among the top 8 global winners of the Multimedia Challenge, selected from 108 participants. Notably, her accomplishment also secures Sri Lanka a spot in the top 20 of 3 fast-track events, namely Talent, Head-to-Head Challenge and Multimedia, for the first time in Miss World history. In the Asia and Oceania region, the top 5 Multimedia finalists featured representatives from New Zealand, the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam and Sri Lanka, while Thailand ultimately claimed the top spot. And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Other Than First at 9. Thank you. Have a great night.